Welcome in to another episode of the Young Entrepreneurs Network podcast. Today I am super excited. I've got Iani Doynov, someone that I have gotten to know over the last couple of months, man. And yeah, when I was decided to press the acceleration on the podcast, you're one of the people that inspired me to actually do it, take the step forward with it, because it was something that we were uploading every couple of weeks. But also with business, naturally things take over, and you were like, you have a real opportunity here, mate, to stand out from everyone, especially in Scotland. So yeah, Iani, do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, mate? And thank you for coming on.
My name is Iani, born in Germany, 0 to 7 Bulgaria, 7 to 20 Italy, and 20 to 27 in Glasgow. So a lot of changes, a lot of moving around. At heart, I don't know what I feel. I would say half Italian, half Bulgarian. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. I met John, when did we meet? 2 months ago? 3 months ago?
Yeah, we about 2-3 months ago.
Talking about the podcast, what we were saying.
Yeah.
And as you said, if I do it, would you come on? I would come on. Yeah. And since then, you did how many episodes?
Yeah, I mean, we've got 6 booked in between now and like the next month.
Because that's the thing with advice. I give you an advice, you give me an advice, but if you don't do it, it doesn't...
Makes no difference.
Yeah, and you did it right away.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Well, obviously having you on, mate, I'm super excited because I mean the one meeting that we had in your operation at your office, that was one where I wish I just had stuck a mic on the wall.
It was fun, huh?
It was really fun, man, really fun. So do you want to tell the guys a little bit about probably, I mean, you went through a couple of businesses prior to this one. You worked on with...
Sure. I mean, I've been wanting to be in business since I was a kid, but where I grew up, there wasn't really business. I mean, Italy, great place to have a holiday in, but not really a business place. It's more of a socialism type of thing. Work for the person, work for the state. That's the best thing you can do. So there weren't many people doing business around, but I always wanted to be by myself. I always wanted to make money by myself and really die on my own sword rather than work for someone. And if something doesn't work well, I'll be like, it was his fault, not mine. I wanted to make my own decisions and then either lose or win on my own merit, which I think is the most important. Then how I got the first businesses were, I mean, buying DVDs, selling DVDs at school and all of these things, burning. I don't know if you remember, there was a point that you could download a game and burn it on a DVD. Yeah. Or you're too young for that. You remember?
I remember it because my dad used to go to the bars in Glasgow.
I mean, that was a profit maker. You would, I mean, you had no cost of goods. You would download a game, 50p for a DVD or CD, and you would sell it for £2. That was millions back in there when you were a kid. So did that. My first, I would say, proper business was getting to the Airbnb game, Airbnb management in Rome. Yep. I had a partner in there. We went up to 3 apartments, but then it became a disaster. I mean, the laws with Airbnb started coming in. Italy was cracking down on Airbnb management because hotels, obviously, they didn't want you to get guests from them. And Airbnbs were competing with hotels. So the hotels were very powerful, still are very powerful in Italy. And they cracked down on all the Airbnb, and we kind of got in trouble there. We had to shut down for over 6 months. So I went back and worked in a hotel. I had already the hospitality and business. It was very painful because I started making money for myself. I worked for myself. So now I had to go back and work for other people. So it was very painful. But I was like, let me stack up some cash. Let me learn. Yeah. I went to the hotel. I was like, I don't want to stay here for long. So what is the next step? My next step was, let's open a hotel. Let's make a hotel empire. I was reading Conrad Hilton, the guy who built Hilton Hotels. Yeah. So I was getting, let's do it. I came here, started working in a hotel, worked almost 2 years, really. And things were going well. But when I went to work for the hotel, the first rule, I said to my manager at that time, I said, I don't want to work 40 hours. I want to work 80 hours. Because no point. Yeah. I was single. I came here to do something. Yeah. I was like, might as well do that. So I started working 70, 80 hours, but not just for the money. It wasn't for the money. It was to see all the aspects of the hotel, how reservations work, how reception works, how finance and the management works. And you can do that with a lot of volume. And 1.5 years after that, because I was always trying to start something, but I wasn't really successful. I wasn't really doing it properly, in my opinion. I was 20, 21. And then I got into Airbnb management again. Yeah. So I Googled a company and I put, what did I put? Glasgow management companies for Airbnb. And Spot Host came up. So I sent them an email. I said, I want to work for free with you guys, all of these things, right? Yeah. They ignored my first email. Then I called them, and they thought I was scamming them because working for free, whatever. After hundreds of messages, I managed to convince them to start to work for free, but they actually offered me a position. So at that time I was working in the hotel. I was working for Spot Host from 8 to 2, and from 2 to 10:30 I was working in the hotel. So I was doing double bubble.
Wow.
But I didn't want to work for them. I wanted to own part of the business. So I will say, let me go in there and kind of infiltrate, become the top guy and own part of the business. I pretty fast realized that's not going to happen. But what happened is, and that's the thing about intentions, you're thinking about something, and it actually happens. I went there and I met Luis, which later on became my partner in Host Clean, because he was working with them, he was doing the cleaning with them. So we got introduced, we got very close. We're pretty much the same age. And after that, I started working kind of more with him, really 99% with him. And I was like, there's an opportunity here. So at the end of the summer, I said, let's partner. I'll do all the operations. I'll be your number one guy. Let's become partners. I'll run everything. Let's do it. I'll take no money for the first couple of months. And let's do it. He went up and we started. And we grew. At the height, we had about 120 properties. We were doing pretty well. And it's a very nice business. We recently sold the business. The reason we sold it is during the obviously when the pandemic came, it was a nightmare. By the way, can I swear on here?
Yeah, of course.
Fuck it. It's limiting my words if I don't. But during the pandemic, it was a very tough time for us, because you went from, and especially before the pandemic, it was the height of our business. We were getting the most clients, we're getting bigger clients, bigger management companies. We're like, okay, now we're really going to turn it up. Then the pandemic comes, you go from 20, 30 cleans a day. Weekends, you have even more people working with you. I mean, you're ready to go. And then in the pandemic, go to 0 cleans because you can't do it. Like, if you remember, restaurants were closed, all of that. So we during that time, we're like, what are you going to do? It's not just the money, it's just the action. You don't have much to do. Like, there wasn't really much to do. So Luis was doing other business on the side. And I started what I do now, Flipville, which is the e-commerce business. So I started doing that. We started with, the story is interesting. Luis gave me a watch because he doesn't like watches. I sold that watch on eBay for £50, and that was our starting capital. That £50, we started buying DVDs in job lots. So you get 200-300 DVDs and you break them down singularly. We built our first £300-400 with that. Then we started doing books and DVDs. And from there, we built up, I would say, £3,500 with that from zero. It took us some time, but we built it. And that time, a friend of mine, I became a part with him, Octavian, which is a partner in the business, because I was like, I need a hand. I was still doing hosting. I need someone to help me. So I partnered with him, and that's how we started. The big turning point was, obviously, because it was the pandemic, he was on furlough. He was working in a restaurant. So he had a lot of time. I had a lot of time. We just pushed. We did books up until 3,500-4,000 in money we had saved up. And then we started buying household products, home products. It wasn't exclusively that we were doing, but we're doing mostly that. And we sell just the sales. Skyrocket. We went from £3,000-4,000 in sales a month to 50,000 in a couple of months. Obviously, this is a sale. This is not profit. But it was significant. So now we're struggling to keep in stock. At the beginning, we're buying, because when you don't have cash, the way buying and selling works is you can buy a couple of different ways. You can buy from a person, an individual, depending on what you're buying. You can buy from a wholesaler distributor, someone who has a lot of stock and buys directly from the brand, or you can buy directly from the brand. When you're starting out, wholesaling and brand direct, it's out of the question. They want minimum £2,000-3,000, and if you don't have the cash, you can't really do it. So you go to shops, you go to retail places, BM, Home Bargains, Tesco, anywhere you can do. A lot of the times, because we didn't have the cash at the beginning, we would list something on, let's say, eBay and Amazon, sell it, wait for the money to come in, and go and buy it. Because this way we had no cash flow problems. So that's how we started. After that, we started systemizing. Because once you start getting to 50,000, 60,000 pounds a month in sales, you need to kind of, okay, we get this, let's make sure we keep it, let's make sure we go up, and let's make sure it's something that's sustainable and we can do it. So we started systemizing, getting people to work. We got my partner's mother to work with us. We got his sister, her husband, another 2 people, and my mother to work. So the way the team is set up now, which was very different from back then, we have 3 people online, which are not located in the UK. My mother, his sister, and her husband. They work online. They do all the listings for us, all the messages, all the admin stuff, and the stock management. And we have physical people here. We have 3 physical people that pack for us every day in the store where you came.
Yeah.
That is the basis of the business. What we do, it's pretty simple. We buy and sell. We are doing home products and household products because it's something you get every day. There's no seasonality. Things with seasonality are great, but it's a different skill set almost. For example, toys. Christmas, you're going to sell plenty of toys. Come January, March, you're not going to sell as much. So it's very difficult to really predict that. But that was behind our thought. Right now, we do about 150,000 pounds a month. Last month we did 160, but 150 is the average. 150 a month. We have the team, and it's just growing it and making sure it's a better business. Right now, the goal is it's not just growing the sales. I don't know if you ever heard, but sales is vanity, profit is sanity. So in the stock type of business, there's many opportunities, but you need to be very aware of cash flow. What do you have as an asset, as a liability, your profit and loss? You need to understand that. You buy something for 1, you sell it for 2, but what else is associated with that? How do you control the cost of goods? Understanding how to buy. For example, now, one of our team members is just a buyer. They buy the stock. Understanding where to buy it, how to buy it, and when to buy it. Discount periods. It's so many, as with every business, there's so many different details to it. But it takes time.
See, just rolling it back a little bit, the 5 to 50k per month, like during that kind of process, what was the kind of like steps / like decisions that you made to go from, okay, we're generating like 5k in consistent income to 50k? Like, what would you be able to walk me through, like from there to...
Sure. What is this? A couple of years ago, when we're doing 4 to 5, we're doing books. Books is an incredible thing. Most people are like, who buys books? It's a big business. People, I mean, look at behind you. There's like 10 books because they're so cheap. You can sell them. And for us, we used to buy books for 10, 20p, and you sell them for a couple of pounds, 4 or 5, and then when you bundle them up even more. What happened is we decided to change from at the beginning, we didn't have an office. We were doing it from my partner's flat. We had so many books that the floor started collapsing, because when you put 2 tons of books in a flat, it's not meant to be. So that was the first issue. We're like, we can't really do this. Books was requiring a lot of space and a lot of labor. We started thinking, okay, what do the big guys do as well? All of them sell grocery, all of them sell food, all of them sell these type of things. So let us try as well to sell it. What changed it? To be honest, we wanted to be doing more sales, but we really started testing other products. Products that we would buy, and products that when we researched the seasonality of products, we started Googling, for example, a Lenore conditioner. How often does it get bought? Every year, every day, all the time. The lifetime value of a customer is infinite, because if you buy it from me and I do a good service for you, you're going to buy it for 20 years. I mean, forever, until you need it. So we just started doing those products, and we understand, and we changed completely. We removed books. Because once we saw it working, we just started buying more and more and more. Strategy-wise is just understanding what sells, what is in demand, and how you sell it. That's what we really started understanding. How much price is a factor, how much service is a factor, how much listing it the right way, pictures, all of that, and coming up with the right keywords and at the right time. That was, I would say, the biggest part, to be honest.
Because I was surprised by, like, when you sent me through like the website for like your products. I was surprised when I went on that it was like Nescafe, like actual like physical brands that I was like, holy shit, like this isn't like, I don't know why, but my perception in my head was that you had like
drop shipping.
Like something like that. And I seen that it was like these actual brands. And I remember going like, I remember seeing the price, and just naturally, because I don't drink coffee, for example, I was just like, oh, I wonder what the price is on Tesco. And you were more expensive than Tesco. And I remember thinking, holy shit, like there was like a gap in my knowledge, right? Where I was like, how is that possible? Like, how is it possible that people would be paying more rather than going to Tesco? And I remember us speaking about it.
Well, the interesting part is, and I thought the same at the beginning, but you're like, okay, I mean, let's say our website sells Nescafe for $3.49. Tesco sells it for £3. It's 50p. If you don't know the game, you don't even know there's that much of a difference unless you price compare. Number one. Second, convenience. You're busy. You like to have it home delivered. So that you are willing to pay 50p, £1 more just for the convenience of home. It's the same principle as clothing, for example. If you're selling Nikes, most likely I'm going to sell more expensive than Nike, but most likely it's going to be more convenient. And it's the brand you put, it's the customer service as well. Tesco is not going to have all the products we have, vice versa. We're not going to have all the products that we have at Tesco. So you're not really competing with them because obviously they're in a stratosphere of their own. They do 60 billion, 62 billion, whatever they do. And they're just huge. You're not going to compete with them, nor you shouldn't, because you're playing a different game. Our business strategy is we want to make sure customer service is number one. We have a lot of different type of products. Delivery is number one. Our response rate is minutes. You send us an email, if it's before 5, we're going to reply in 10 minutes. Discounts. If you have any issues, we refund you. I mean, unless you're trying to scam us, which is very rare. But if you have any issues, we're not going to be like, oh, you need to send me a picture. You need to send me proof. No, we refund you. Because it's not about the transaction today. It's the 10 transactions in the next month. I think a lot of these big businesses, Tesco, Asda, they're very transactional. They don't value the customer. They try to pay the least possible to their employees. And we're the opposite. I prefer having 5 people, but pay them very well, than 10 people and pay them less. Because company culture is, it's super important.
And that was something that we spoke a lot about in regards to, I feel like that's the big gap within, any business. It's like the level of service. That was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, to be fair, in terms of where you developed. I now see it now with the hotels, fucking doing all those sort of jobs that, like that level of hospitality, you understand truly what to do to deliver an incredible service. And one of the questions I did about them was like, where that kind of stemmed from. I now understand that, but in terms of you taking it from like the hotels and stuff like that and applying it to the current business, you applied it to the convenience, but also to the long-term game of actually building relationships. How do you take that philosophy and then start building and training, say, team members to fulfill those exact same?
I think you need to show them first. I think training is super underrated, and we're doing training the wrong way. I mean, how efficient we are right now compared to how efficient we were 2 years ago. I mean, right now, 2 people pack what 4 used to do, just because the process and the systems are easy. I think you as a director/founder, your goal is to make things easier for the people who work with you and for you, not complicated. And it's not about just the cultures. You need to show them. Like, can you do it? How you do it? If I tell them 100 parcels per hour is the minimum, can I do it? Or I'm just talking shit? I think it's showing it and actually do it. I think it's similar to kids. They say babies don't watch their fathers. They don't hear their fathers. They see what they do. So if you're an alcoholic, they're like, okay, you're not a serious guy. You might be talking good, but you're an alcoholic. I think it's the same with people who work with you. They want to see you're actually a good guy. You work hard. You care about the business, because you, as a founder, you're going to always care more about the business than the people who work with you. It makes sense. They don't have the same incentive. They will never have the same incentives unless you make them partners. So we can't expect too much from people. I think the issue, especially with bigger companies and smaller, is they expect their employees to do everything. I pay you. So you pay them, but there's another 20 jobs that pay the same or more. You're not paying the most. You're not treating the best. And especially for people our age, if we go to a company, we want somewhere to grow. Is this company growing? Is this company dying? I mean, you know what I mean?
It's the biggest thing that's overlooked, man. I feel like see, it's like this, not necessarily a selfish thought process, but it's like they've maybe not been exposed to that kind of wider philosophy. And I think when you're in a kind of, whether it's in a team environment or you grow up like yourself in like a hospitality environment, like me coming from the gaming space, it was like I knew what it was like to have a team of 4 absolute fucking killers. I knew what it was right to have a team of 2 killers but 2 slackers, and then having to deal with like other fucking loose ends and stuff like that. And you end up not wanting to play, man. You don't want to play the game, and that both applies to gaming and in business. You don't want to play the game when it's the same shit.
It's one killer, one good team player is 5 bad players. It's incredible. It's like if you have 5 good people, it's like have 25 bad people. It's really that, and you should be paying them more because even from a financial standpoint that everyone is so concerned about, it makes more sense. I know not all businesses is possible. But you can always, it's not just about the payment, it's how you treat people. You need to tell them the vision. If you say you want to get to 1 billion and you're not explaining why you want, because saying I want to get to 1 billion, but you say, why do you want to get to 1 billion? Do you even know what that means? Because it's just a number. Is it an ego play, or you want to get there because you want to build a big business, take care of 10,000 people, make actual opportunities, prove that you can start from zero, make $1 billion. It's, I think, all the reasons behind it. There's nothing wrong to just go for the money. I think it's wrong when you don't tell it.
Yeah.
It's bad to disguise. If you're just all about the money, say it. I love money and I want to do it.
Yeah.
But when you're saying, oh no, I want to help people, then you do moves that is just about the money.
That was like one of the big things I got from speaking to you was that I spoke about it often, like the fairness value. Like, say, it seemed to me like fairness was a huge value for you, and it's where it kind of links in. And I think that's the one thing that, once again, I see a lot of people, especially young entrepreneurs that are early in the game, and they compromise that shit when like they don't realize they're going to be in the game for like fucking 4 or 5 decades. Like, you got a long way, man. Do you really want to like fuck people over or pay people less or like just operate in a position of scarcity when in fact, like in 10 years time, or even like Hormozy speaks about it a lot, like the money you made last year is so much easier to make now, and it's going to continue to repeat in cycle. And it's like the money that you're bending over backwards for and actually fucking people over for.
That's bad money. That's bad karma money. There's good money and there's bad money. Bad money always bites you in the ass, however much it is.
Yeah,
good, you want to get good money, good karma money.
For sure.
And in business, the players we see now are probably not going to be players in 20 years because it takes 2 to 3 decades to see if it's an actual player.
Yeah.
Most people explode for a couple of years and they're gone. 10 years, I mean, same for us. We're young in the game. It's curious to see where we'll be in 10, 20 years. Then you'll be like, you know what, Iani? You actually made something because you're 20 years and you're 20 times bigger.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of hype. It's a lot of hype. And you know, business is not easy. Yeah. It's not as, oh, I'm going to open it and I'm going to do plenty of sales. It's so much to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I say. We're not even starting. We're so small and we're so little in comparison with everything else. Yeah. And we're so much to do. What I'm doing now, I might not be doing it in 2 years. I might be 10 times bigger or not. But that's up to me. That's the good thing about capitalism. You're down your own sword. If you're good, you're good. Nothing can stop you.
Yeah. I think that level of control over your own life is something that I think serves you, because you realize that, like you said, you die by your own sword. So if you don't put in the time, then it's your fault. Whereas I think when it's external, your employee, you work for someone else, it's always, you hear it all the time, it's just blame.
It's blame, and you don't have the same type of responsibility. You don't have payroll.
Yeah.
I think there's different levels of business as well. I mean, when you start by yourself, number one is, let's take care of me, right?
Yeah.
As long as I'm getting a salary, it's all right. And that's the first level. Then you start having people, and then it starts becoming a proper business. Because it's one thing for you to pay yourself, it's one thing to pay people and have that responsibility of paying people. A lot of people cannot handle that. Can you make payroll? Did you make enough money to pay 5 people that rely on you and their family relies on you? That is not all spoken a lot in the business game. Yeah. All right, yeah, we do well, but I mean, there's many people who don't pay their staff and they just fuck them off. That's something I wouldn't do. I would pay from my own pocket to not do that. Because if I'm getting someone to work for me, I make sure I have enough money to cover it. Or I will do it myself. Yeah.
I think it's, I think in Stephen Bartlett's new book, he spoke about there was 2 varying factors that will massively impact overall retention, lifetime value beyond it. And it was, I think the way that he summarized it was that you'll have one peak emotion. Now, whatever that time of spiking that peak emotion, which is usually like when you first buy something, you're really excited, that sort of stuff. If the excitement is matched with the expectation, like they actually sync up, where it's like, holy shit, this was actually as good as what I thought it was going to be. That peak emotion is like one of the key of the 2 determining factors that impact their thought process of your business beyond that point. Obviously, if that emotion is negative, then of course it's going to have some sort of negative impact. The second time I believe that he explained it in a way that it was when the relationship started to come to an end. Yeah. And how either you handle that or how the company handles it, if it's offboarding a client, like all those different varying factors. And it got me thinking about it in terms of leaving a sour taste in someone's mouth, regardless of how good all the other good shit is. It's like, what is it the saying? It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Yeah. And I seen that playing into what he was saying, where it was like, it actually doesn't matter about how good it is in the beginning. If it turns to shit as time goes on, that's what people are going to remember.
That's the thing. I mean, especially in the previous business and even in this, the amount of times we got fucked over. I mean, thousands of pounds not given us. What are you going to do? You're going to go and fight them? Like, first of all, I think when people like that fuck you over, it comes from pain. Yeah. I mean, they feel bad. It's not a person who's in a good place will not fuck you over. Yeah. So if he needs to steal 1,000 pounds from you, leave it. If you can afford it, leave it. So it's no point.
Yeah. Where do you feel like you developed that kind of like thought process?
I mean, for me, karma is almost logical. You don't want to have you don't want to leave people with bad taste in their mouth about you, because it's a bad energy and you don't feel good about yourself. And I've never, ever, even when I was younger, when I got into a fight with someone, I never felt good after that. Yeah. Like, okay, you get into a fight and you win and you still feel bad. It's still bad. I mean, you lose a friendship, you lose a person, you lose a relationship. And not only that, if the person towards you acted bad and you acted good, he can always come back to you. You can always go back to him, because you as the person, you didn't fight with him. He knows it's his fault. And the amount of people years later that came after to me and said, it was a bad period in my life, I'm sorry. I mean, they come back.
So you're kind of like humanizing them. Like, it's just.
And I think I honestly think I'm one of the luckiest people in the world. Just being healthy, knock on wood, being brought up the way I was brought up, with not much, single mother, not having money. I think that's such a big edge in business and in life that how can you hate on other people? And hating on people, I mean, has it ever done anything for you? That's why I know a lot of people laugh about how much money they make. But you believing them that that's true, it's almost better than not believing them. Because if someone tells you make 100,000 a month, you're like, oh shit, wow, that's impressive. Mindset-wise, it's better to think that, even if it's not true, even if they're lying.
Yeah, it's like there's certain beliefs or insecurities that will somewhat serve you, especially if it's like, I have this conversation all the time, often with friends, family, and it's like finishing the day believing that you've not done enough. Like, yes, that hurts, and you're like, fucking hell, man, I wish I'd done more today. But that insecurity will serve you in the next day or that same day where you decide to do more. And at that time, if you want to make it about competition, for example, you've done more than what everyone else was willing to do that day. And I think that you kind of touched on it just now. Like, the biggest thing I circled from what you said is just like pure gratitude, like just on a day.
But it's difficult. I mean, I'm very ungrateful a lot, because you always want to go more and more and more. Like, as soon as we said earlier, outside, you get 6 clients, you want 12. You get 12, you want 24. Like, the appetite comes with eating. Yeah. Like, it's
for sure. One of the things I found interesting, you spoke about like bringing employees into the vision and stuff like that. And I think probably a lot of young entrepreneurs I speak to, it's like they can only see so far with the vision, maybe like a few feet in front of them, where it's like you know, if they're hitting 10k a month, for example, it's like this huge glorified fucking milestone, especially in the service based. How do you kind of get clear on the bigger vision, like beyond that initial few steps?
I think it depends on the ambition. I mean, just some people are not as ambitious, and there's nothing wrong. And when I say ambition, it's not what you say you want to do, is what your actions are doing actually. Because you're ambitious, because when we spoke about the podcast, you did it right away. You did 6 podcasts after we spoke. Plus you were 1 month away in Spain. Most people say I want to do it, but they don't do it. So if your actions, I think, should always match your words. If you're saying I want to reach 1 billion, are you doing that? Yeah. Or are you just playing to play? I mean, words are almost nothing. You can speak well, you can do a lot of things well, but what are you actually doing day to day? Are you working out? Are you eating well? Are you fucking around? Are you drinking? All of that impacts. If you have 2 days of bad sleep, you're already you're getting angry, you're not performing as well. And that's all I think. If you want to get to the highest level, you need to do all of that together. Yeah.
I can see from you talking how, because we connected through originally Connor Malone, who's also been on the podcast as well, but also a great friend of mine, and so much of his content is around like doing what you say you'll do, and sticking by it. And I think it's conversation we have regularly, man, where it's like even the littlest of things, man, like littlest of things. And I became so like, you know, about details, bro, that to other people they genuinely don't care, but to me it was like, for example, I went for dinner with Lawrence last night. While I was on a call, I said to Lawrence, I'll be in Glasgow for 5:30, but what I meant was I'll be leaving my house at 5:30, so I'll get in much later. He texted me 25 past 5 saying I'm at the restaurant, I got a table. Bro, I've never felt like fucking off the call, put a headset off,
Fast
like
and furious.
So like quick in my car, and the whole way like driving there I was like, mate, what the fuck, like how did I slip by that, right? And for some people, like being late is just the industry standard. Yeah.
But what is your standard is what you let slip away. If your standard is to be fat, you're going to be fat forever.
Yeah. And I think I started to realize it as well when so I realized you're being anal about details that are cool. I'll send you a Zoom link the day before. and you don't send them a Zoom link, or I'll send them a calendar invite, or yeah, see after this call I'm going to send you that like within like 5 minutes. Then you don't.
Me personally, I remember that a lot because it's patterns. Because I've seen a lot of people saying, I'm going to send you a calendar invite, and they never do. And usually everything else, they don't do it on time. You say you'll be here 5:30 or 5:40. There's always traffic. There's always something.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a pattern. And I think people that are even on higher levels, they look at that so carefully. And even with a small interaction, they already can see, okay, this guy's for real or this guy's talking shit.
Yeah, 100%, man. I couldn't agree more. There's a couple of things. You spoke about your mum and the kind of single parent. What did you learn from your mum?
Everything, brother. I mean, everything. Because my father left us when we were 3 and 4, so we went to Italy in a country that's pretty racist. So it wasn't like easy. And for example, here there's a lot of benefits, a lot of help, a lot of universal credit. There was none of that in Italy. So she married with a stepfather, but that didn't go very well. So, I mean, it's crazy because if you go to Italy, the house that I first saw, it's big. Yeah. When I went there, I was like, Mama, we made it. We're rich. My mother married for money. But that lasted 3-4 months because the person she married, his business was collapsing. Like, it was literally collapsed when we went there. So we got the tail end of it. He kept the house, but if you see the house now, it's rotten. It's not been fixed in 25 years because he bought that big house when he was doing better, all cash, and now it's just a trophy. Yeah. But it learned, work. She had to work. And the way my mother worked was never to make money, it was just to survive. She never had savings. She never had nothing. She got so good of calculating prices of food in the grocery shops that she didn't even need to. She would tell me 24 pounds and that would be the exact amount on the till because every penny counted. Yeah. Actually, every penny counted. I mean, you have a single mother as well. You probably can relate.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I think it's something that my mom had a great job, quote unquote, like over like just shy of like 50k a year and stuff like that. But when you're a single parent, you got 2 kids. It's like when you really break down those numbers too. Like if you think about it in business, it's like that's like what 4k a month, and it's like you're surviving off that alone. Like you're probably chilling, but when you've got 2 kids to look after, or rent to pay, bills,
I don't think my mother ever made more than 1,200 euros a month ever. Wow, ever. I don't think I'm sure she never made it. Yeah. And the math was against her for sure. I mean, the bills were 1.4, 1.5, so it was. We were living on borrowed time. We were living on borrowed time.
You ever spoke to her about like that like time period?
Yeah, we always speak about it. Yeah, I mean, you kind of laugh about it right now because it's a very good time. Because we lived in a smaller place in Italy first, and then we moved to Rome, and I was pushing to move to Rome because I was like, big city, I can start working when I was in school, and I was like, let's do it. But we went there, brother. When I say everything that went wrong, everything. Not one thing was going right. I tried to change school. It took me a month. Yeah. And I went to the worst school I could. I'm bad at school, so I went like in one of the best schools. That was so difficult. And I remember the first day going to school and 3 teachers were missing. And I was like, oh, it's going to be easy. Next day was like the hardest day, the hardest day in my life. They destroyed me. So everything went wrong. Went wrong there, to be honest. But we speak about with my mother a long time, like how different life is now. Yeah. Compared to before. It's not like we're like balling, as you say, but it's much compared to before. Yeah, we're definitely balling. It's very different. But I mean, I was praying to be a waiter and I couldn't get that job. I really people don't realize here how easy it is to get a job. You can go out now and become a waiter. Oh, it's a waiter. You make money anyway. Yeah. I was giving 10 to 12 CVs a day, and everybody was saying, "Nah, no chance. Are you crazy?" They will laugh at your face, and that's wrong. I got the job in the hotel because my mother was working in the hotel, and I was training there for 2 months for free. 2 months I worked night shift for free, and when I finally started making money, it was 40 euros a night. I was getting 5 euros an hour.
Is it still like that there now?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's tough. It's a shame because it's a country with all the potential in the world. But the management is horrible.
It's crazy, bro, because even when I reflect on I used to work in New York American Grill in Princess Square, and I reflect on that as like the shit times of my life almost. And it's crazy just hearing it like from your perspective in regards to like showcasing gratitude for. I have plenty of gratitude in regards to, for example, like when I actually calculated the wage I was getting paid, paying for the bus fare, the hour each side, you realise you're getting paid like £4 an hour, and you're like, this is like fucking abysmal. Whereas you just developed like such a, once again, links back to the gratitude that we highlighted earlier.
I mean, you have to, and pain as well. Like, you don't want to go back to that. But if you go back, you know how to get out of it as well.
Yeah, 100%, mate. How did you develop your money mindset if you never really came from?
I've always been a saver. I think there's two people in the world, spenders and savers. You either spend money and you save. The issue with spenders is you can make as much, but it's easy, even in business. As long as you have more cash coming in than going out, you always be all right.
Yeah.
Like financially. But if it's the opposite, you always be bad. So if you make 10K and you spend 12 and the vice versa, it's going to be complicated. So I've always saved money. I've always, however little money I made, I always tried to save.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, I knew even from a young age that school was not the way out. So you had to work hard. And money is very important for freedom. Yeah. You need to have choices, and money is the one that gives you choices. So I realized that the skill set of learning how to make money is very important. Not the most important, but it's very important.
Yeah. See, in terms of the first thing I highlighted when you started talking was the willing to work for free. See the offer you presented to them, bro. Hormozy would be proud of that offer. Hormozy would be proud of that.
You know how many times I've been refused with that offer? Because I've offered it to a good amount of people.
Fucking hell, man. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, bro. Now, in terms of also where things are at now, obviously, like you said, you're doing 150k roughly a month.
Yeah.
I mean, from the 50k per month up to that 150k per month, what kind of started to change? What were the kind of steps?
Well, we started seeing what works, and I think when you realize what works, you just put gasoline to the fire. You just start doing it more and more. I don't think new strategy is always the way. It's if something works, do it to the max. It's similar with ad campaigns. I mean, on Meta, if 5 won't work, the 6th would work. Put all your money in there. Because if it works, it works. And it was kind of that. We didn't complicate it. Buying and selling is pretty simple as a concept. It gets complicated with time. For example, now it's understanding. One thing that was a big thing for me was getting monthly accounting meetings. Like actually them breaking down the numbers, understanding what does this mean, understanding the true meaning of profit, the true meaning of positive cash flow. All of this, I think, is so important to learn. You don't need it, but it's good for you to understand it. It's not, you don't need to do your own accounts. That's a waste of time, really. But to understand what balance sheet, what asset and liabilities are, it's super important. Why are some businesses so healthy and they keep on growing? And why are some businesses always failing? Why some businesses rely on so many loans? All of that, understanding that is so interesting. And the last year, it's really, I made them an offer. Let's meet once a month for an hour, and I'll ask you as many questions as possible, and we would review the accounts of the year. It's like doing management accounts every year, but just a smaller version. And that's been game changing, because these accountants, they know businesses that make 60 million a year. And you can ask them, what do they do? How are they thinking? And one of the accountants was saying, it was an interesting story. They helped one of the company to not go out of business, and now that company does 60 million a year. Yeah.
What is like the biggest lesson you've learned from the accountants?
Understand your numbers. Understand your numbers and where you want to go. Like, the business you are in, what are the cash constraints? Like different businesses, for example, service businesses, you don't have upfront cost as much. But how do you acquire clients? Usually service businesses many times have a bigger cap. To get to 10K is not that difficult, but to get to 100K is pretty complicated many times, because it's not just getting a client, keeping the client is more difficult. So it's understanding what type of business you're in and what you need to do.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of understanding your numbers, I know for me, like I went to, I studied accountancy at uni, and that was it was interesting. I lasted like 2 months there, but I went to college prior to it, and I felt like that was something that I remember I used to tell myself like this same story, which was like I wasn't willing to fully commit to the gaming side of things, the streaming or anything like that next step fully, because I was like, I want this safety net, I want this accountancy degree, I want this something like behind me. And eventually I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna roll with the punches. But I believe that a lot of what I learned in regards to just basic accounting, understanding the numbers, and like you said, being able to compare profitable versus failing like statements, and understanding like, okay, like this is actually where it went wrong, and if they dial back on this, then they would have survived, and so on and so forth. It's something that Yeah, was super interesting, man.
You need to know your numbers. You need to understand your numbers. I mean, you can get away with it, but it will bite you in the ass at some point. And it did to us. I mean, the results we had the last year and this year is very different because we bought so much stock, but we were like, okay, you're buying stock, but why are you buying it for? Is it the most profitable product you can buy? So all of these things now, because now I went and reviewed all the buyings we're doing, how we're doing them. And there are so many mistakes. We still do plenty of mistakes, but it's just learning them. And if you don't understand your numbers, it's very difficult.
What's an example of a mistake?
Mistakes, for example, we would do 100K in sales, but we would spend 80K in stock. Why would you do that? Yes, buying stock is an asset, yes, but you can play it much different. We're overstocking, we're holding too much stock, which in my opinion, and some people might be against it, stock is great, but cash is better. You want to be stock rich and cash rich, not just stock rich. Because stock, yes, it's an asset, but how do you buy stock? With cash. So it's really understanding that the buying decisions we did, how to do them. Because if you don't have sales, you don't have anything. That's true. So I think that's the first skill set to understand. Producing revenue in sales is the number one skill we should learn, I think. Because without that, there's no business, there's no systems. It's no point to have systems if you don't have revenue. What are you doing systems on? But then when you start getting revenue and learning how to make revenue, it's putting everything else aside and make sure that revenue is as profitable as possible. And if it's not profitable, why is it not profitable? Are you taking a loss, quote unquote, this year so you're bigger in the next 5 years? Or are you doing it because you're not understanding why you're not profitable? Because it's not about making the most profit every year, but it's about why you're not making as much profit this year. Is it strategical? Or is it because you're extracting too much money? Or is it because you don't have a clue? I think you need to understand these things. I mean, the amount of business owners that don't understand anything about their numbers, it's insane.
If there's someone listening just now that feels like they don't have a clue about any of those things, what would be your advice to them?
Start learning, because however profitable your business is, it can always be more profitable, number one. And I think it's a good skill set to have regardless. I mean, don't look at the YouTubers that have Twitch deals and YouTube deals. That's different. They're not necessarily businessmen. They have a big brand and they can make money. But imagine if they had a business acumen and they can actually leverage it. A great example, Alex Hormozi. He doesn't have the biggest following, but because he's so switched on business-wise, he's making the most out of it because he understands it.
I remember thinking, there was a podcast I watched with a couple of YouTubers that just enjoy their content. Chunks, young Philly. I don't know if you came across him before.
No.
Maybe some of yours have, but I remember watching a podcast and it was like Chunks, Young Philly, and I think it was Harry Pinero. Now those three guys have blown up a bit over the time. But I remember two of the lads saying to Chunks that the reason why he's blown up is because he was willing to study the business side of YouTube. And he was willing to get brand deals, sign brand deals that were not only serving him like right now, but serving him in the future as well.
But he was getting equity probably.
It's just something that like they were. It triggered a thought there when you said it, because like you said, it's like Hormozi's brand compared to some other like fucking huge brands out there, but he'll be making fucking 10, hundreds, maybe 1,000x how much they're making.
And he knows his stuff. That's another thing.
100%, man.
I mean, especially in the self-development game, there's so many shady things. I mean, I'll give you an example. I spoke with a friend of mine that he's speaking with another person. He claims to make 150 million a year. That's a big number. I went to the company house. It says 16 million. Now, I don't think he forgot to say the zero because he said it many times. He might have it in splitting companies. It's true, but I think you need to be very careful in lying because it catches you up. If I tell you I make 10 million and you ask me to, and I show you it's 2, you'll be like, are you going to trust me? Not really. You need to be truthful and not hyping. It's very good. It's good to hype, but there needs to be truth in it.
What are some other values that you feel like could never be compromised?
Being truthful, for sure. Value-wise, paying your taxes, brother. I mean, nobody likes it, but you have to. It's not about, yes, does the government take more than they should? Probably. But if you're good enough, you should be able to take. If you're good, I think you can pay even 70% taxes. It's not right, I agree. The people that make the most money pay the most tax. I don't think it's necessarily right, but you should do it. Because if you start scheming off the VAT, if you start scheming off taxes, corporation tax, that means you're not a good enough player. And for me, I want to win the right way, not doing these type of things. I mean, we all know the guys who have local shops and they have all the cash reserves, but they don't declare profits. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it the right way.
Why is the right way so important to you?
Because it means you're good. If you do it the wrong way, you always, even if, let's say if I scam my way through to 100 million, it's a big amount and you might not know I did, but I would know. So my confidence will be fucked. And how would you sleep at night if everything is based on a lie?
Yeah.
That's, for me, the tough part. Because business is hard, and whoever says it's easy, I mean, it's lying. When I say hard emotionally, I think it's simple enough. Like, you need to make more money than you lose. You need to make money, really. In business, you need to provide a great service, great product, all of that. I think everyone knows that. But mentally, are you willing to learn for 5 months without making money? Are you willing to not take any money of your business for the first year? Can you afford it? I think that's the difficult part.
I think I started to recognize that wasn't just a given. Where, I mean, I've up until this year, I paid myself less than £1,000 a month every single month, and I just literally, I was having a conversation with my mum last night. She was like, she's like, you've wore the same clothes for like 3 years. I was like,
bang, bang.
I was like, I hadn't even reflected that it had actually been that long. And most like new stuff that I would wear, for example, would be like Bex would be getting me like a gift for like birthday or Christmas or something like that. And for me, it was just like, well, obviously, because the bigger like business was so much more important to me, and the end game was so much more important. Okay. And like I didn't care, man. Like it's so weird because it's like to so many other people they'll be hearing that and they're like, how can you not care about those things? But it's like when you have a purpose and something that's so much bigger, it's so much easier to just attach yourself to that said thing. And then you realize that you've got a pair of joggies on that have got holes in them, for example, and you're just like...
You lose yourself in your pursuit.
Yeah.
And I think if you can afford it, pay yourself well. It's not about that, but it's about business, if you're starting out with no money in anything, it's very hard, and no skills. Because now, if you're good in business, if you build a 100 million company, it's much easier because you know how to do it. But we're talking about zero skills, never did it. When you're starting in and you make your first £1,000, don't pay yourselves £1,000 maybe. Prove to yourself you can make it.
Yeah. Prove
to yourself you have a proper business. You actually understand how it works, and then you can start paying yourself. You should pay yourself well. I'm not saying that, but if that's your priority, I need to make the most money, you rarely do it. I mean, from what I've seen, people I know that have the most money is not their first thing.
Yeah, I think it's like when you're willing to, it's like, for example, like learning paid ads. You need to pay someone to teach you paid ads. Then you need to test a shit ton and lose a shit ton.
I mean, the last month I've been doing some paid ads. It's painful. It's so fucking boring. Nothing works, and then some of it works and you don't know why it works. Just to fucking connect the pixel. Yeah. Oh my God, that took me.
The pixel. Oh,
it's frustrating. Yeah. I mean, same with SEO. All of this. It's frustrating when you don't know it. But what are you gonna do? You have to do it.
You have to learn, bro. Yeah. It's something that like the initial pain of something like paid ads. It's extremely painful. But then you develop a skill where for every £100 you put in, you make 200, and then it's like, oh shit. The only way I don't grow is if I run out of money to put in. And through all the years that you spent in the game, you know that you've got an infinite amount of money that you can access to put into that slot machine where you just always win. And it's like, of course, the pain of it's fucking hard in the beginning, but when you develop those skills, like you said, that we spoke about outside, like Gary Wilson's a good example of it with paid ads. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, bro.
Skills pay the bills, it's true. The old saying, skills pay the bills. And experience as well. Experience is underrated. But as you know, I mean, there are people 30, 40 years in the game and they stay in the same level. Just because you have experience and you've been 30 years doesn't mean someone doesn't come and disrupts you. Yeah. I think sometimes going to a business without knowing too much is better because you're doing things that other people are not. Because in many businesses, things become a standard. In agency, you should charge 10%. With this, you should charge 20%. Your retainer should be this. So when someone comes clueless about this, but he already has a skill set and something similar, he disrupts it because he's doing things based on his logic, not on based what the rules are. I think that's when the big businesses come.
Yeah, because it's like changing you're not going based off like what everyone else is doing and just adding a little 1% on top. It's like you're stacking a skill on top of something. It's like, I feel like with Hormozy's stuff, it's like he's came in with free value, set a whole new bar. I seen him, Alex Becker posted on Twitter about it the other day. Like, he's watching some of their content after selling a company for 100 million Hyros, like fucking just last year, and learning stuff from their YouTube videos. And he's like, bro, I'm exited for fucking 100 mil, and you're putting out content that is actually resonating with me, like, for free.
I really think everything you want to learn is on Google and YouTube. Now, if you can afford to pay someone to teach you, that's probably better.
Yeah.
But if you can't, everything's on YouTube and Google. You can learn how to code, how to build websites, everything.
Yeah. I remember that was something that we spoke about before that I found really interesting. I think we had a really good conversation around the fact that you believed, like, any amount of knowledge can be tapped into, and also you believe that there was almost like a base level where everyone has the same knowledge, but it's who utilizes it best or actions it best, which I found really interesting.
I think it's very important who's on the helm. And you see big companies like Tesco that you see, all right, 5 years ago, for example, they went through trouble. Why? They changed CEO. It's so important who's running the game, who's on operations, who's the CEO. I think that's so important. Its strategy is very important, but following up with the strategy and being able to influence all the other people following the same strategy, I think it's the actual skill set. And it depends where you are in your journey. If you're smaller, you need to do different moves. Watching Tesco, what they do at 60 billion a year, and you're barely doing 10,000, it's stupid because they're 20,000 steps ahead of you and they're in a different game.
Yeah.
That's why if you're in the game, you should understand why you're in the game and what you're doing, and stop. I think too many people are obsessed with looking at other people. Oh, John is doing young and lazy. You know what? I want to do something similar. It looks like it's going great for him. Yeah. I can do it as well. Yeah. Then they go and they're like, oh, but the grass is greener on the other side. It's not as easy to do it, to have the content, to have the people trust you, to lose a couple of clients and learn why I lost these clients. Let's not lose the other ones. Yeah. It's complicated, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of the Tesco CEO, I didn't actually hear anything.
I think they were in trouble at one point. I don't think it was 5 years ago, but I'm saying in general, when you hear companies getting into trouble, Iceland, for example, I'm reading the book of the guy who was doing Iceland. He got kicked out of his own company. They were doing horribly. He built a similar business on the side. It went very well. Then he went back to Iceland and brought it back to good. It's the same business, but the guy who came, the guy on top, was different. It's like football. Depends who the player is. The ball is the same. Because it's not just when they say some businesses are more profitable than others. Yes, but who runs them is very important as well. Yeah. Because young and lazy in your hands looks one way, young and lazy in someone else looks another way. For sure. Because it's very easy to get off. You know what? Let's get as many clients as possible and try to milk them with money. You probably make more in the short term, but in 1 year you don't even exist. Because as you know, bad reputation it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad, bro. It's bad. In terms of, also we spoke a little bit about skills, like in the ecom space, what do you feel like are the most valuable skills to learn?
Understanding supply and demand. Okay. Understanding the supply chain. As I told you, you can buy brand direct, you can buy from wholesalers, you can buy from retail shops. Understanding how the whole system works. Is brand direct always better? No, because wholesalers will buy way more than you and they'll have better prices just because of that. Yeah. There's many ways you can be brand exclusive. For example, I speak with Lenore and I say I want to be the only one to sell for you online. It's difficult to get, and it will take you a year to buy with them and to get a relationship. But it's understanding the supply chain, understanding what sells, what product sells. Clothes sell, yes, but what type of clothes? Is it Nike? Is it Under Armour? Is it Yeezys? What exactly sells? How can you get it, and how can you get many of them and consistently? That is, I think, the part you need to learn. Yeah. And what right now I'm concentrating a lot is on building the website and understanding how the website game works. Because we've been doing a lot of eBay and Amazon, because websites, in my opinion, are an amazing way to do it. Yeah. But they require capital. When you don't have capital, for example, eBay and Amazon are a good platform. You don't really need capital, especially eBay. The marketing is done for you. You set up a shop, and as long as you're selling, get the money in. Yeah. For a website, you need some type of marketing, unless you have brand recognition, which you if you do, you probably have money. Yep. So it's really for me right now, it's understanding how a website works and how I can create a successful website and how you can create a brand on that successful website, because you can do it with any product if you learn that skill set. If I learn to do it with household products, I can do it with clothes, shoes, whatever it is.
I realized that when like Daniel, who'd just been on the podcast, like he went probably in somewhat of a different direction to yourself. Like he focused massively on brand to begin with, which I found like super interesting.
We met like last month or 2 months ago. Very, very impressive. Yeah, we spoke about that as well. Like and I said you should probably go to eBay because it will be still under your own brand and it's just extra stuff. If you're going for brand recognition, and it's not easy to build a brand. There's so many brands. A lot of people are doing the same things, but if you can do something different and it's actually genuine, that's why I think copying other people, it's very difficult and it doesn't look natural. If you're yourself, it's the best.
It seems like when you start to look at other brands or companies that are doing well and you maybe not been in the game or you decide to like copy it, it almost seems like there's some sort of like secret sauce, something that you feel like you're missing, when in fact, from a lot of this conversation, it's like if you're putting time in the game and you're playing a long-term game, you're going to learn all this shit. Whereas if you just try and jump in, it's like when people, like Hermosi says it best, like when someone copies you, it's like it's a good thing because they're copying you from the point that they gain access to yourself. And while they're copying you at that current level and thinking that's end game, you've already optimized that, moved to the next level. Like we had our first ad campaign funnel hacked by a guy that runs some Millionaires Coffee Club or something like that.
Cool name.
Yeah. And he came through our ads or something like that. And it was interesting because it was like campaign 1 at the time of him coming through it. Like we're now on campaign 3. We've got optimizations for campaign 4 that are already rolling out. We've shot a brand new VSL. We've optimized different levels of copy. We've tried and tested 16 different ads with 16 other different copies. Like there's so much that's happened that I wouldn't be surprised if he'd still sitting on that campaign 1.
Yeah, I mean, I've never copying exactly and looking at other people what they do. It's consuming as well because you don't know behind the scenes. That's the thing. Behind the scenes is always different. I've never met someone and then looked behind the curtain is the same. Yeah, it's always different. They tell you something, but when you go, it's like, oh, there's so many other things. Even now, me explaining commerce, but me actually showing you, it's very different. Yeah. As the beginning, you thought it was drop shipping, you thought this, but then you come in and you see the operation and how different it is. It's different. Same with Daniel. He explained to me, even if I'm in the game, it's a different game. So when I go, it will be different for me. Yeah. Behind the scene is always different. And it's always the grass is greener on the other side.
Always, bro. Always. Because I think on Daniel stuff, it's like, you see him put up a story and it's like all these stickers that have came through and you're thinking, holy shit, that would feel amazing to see them. Like, I mean, we see it with paid ads. It's like when leads are pinging up. Like our last campaign that we ran, we had, bang on, it's going to sound like I'm making up the number, but literally over a 2-week window, we generated 100 leads and 48 applications. Wow. And at like a £4.20 cost per lead. And it was not a lot of ad spend either. And in terms of like the notifications pinging through the phone, popping up on the PC, it's such a buzz, obviously. And it's like you realise that same kind of dopamine hit when I see Daniel's tickets or stickers like printing out. In my head, I'm like, oh my god, that would be amazing. But in fact, it's actually the same as just seeing the lead pop up and realising it's different. Same for us when we started. I mean, just even hearing the apps. Right now, I have to shut off my phone, for example, because if I leave it and when you get, let's say 300, right now we get about 300 orders a day on average. So you get like 300 notifications. It's all the time. So it's like, oh shit. But it's a lot of fun. Yep. And I think the excitement you have at the beginning, it's different. So you always need to be excited for the business. That's, I think, very important because the more you grow, you need to add new things. Not change course necessarily, but actually stay excited. Yep. Because if you're not excited, things start deteriorating. You need to have fun. 100%. Because if I even reflect on, like, we ran a campaign like middle of last year, a TikTok campaign, and we were just generating a lead. So just name and email and phone number. Like, I was like, oh my god. I'm like a restaurant pings through. I'm like, oh, just got a lead. Like, whereas now it's like, okay, leads came through. If they submit an application, is the application actually of a good standard? Are they actually going to pick up that first call? Yeah. If they went to a strategy session, cool, what's the cash collected? Like, it's like you're saying, the game constantly, like, the goalposts always move, but you're also making it far more interesting as well. Yeah. and that kind of buzz is it's crazy.
You have to, because if you're, especially at our age, but I think every age, if you're not interested enough, you're going to stop studying, you're going to stop learning, you're going to stop innovating, and you get into a rut that it's difficult to come out of.
How do you innovate at the moment? Is there certain, have you got a process you follow? Is it just a matter of you notice something, you're like, that's interesting?
To be honest, everything is pretty much scheduled for me. I have TickTick. It's like a TickTick and Google Calendar. Try to schedule as much as possible. My days don't change as much. I'm usually in the office fixed enough times, and then meetings and everything. So it's really, I have certain tasks I need to do, but it's really trying to do the highest value tasks.
Yeah.
Because we don't pack anymore. Me and my partner, we don't really pack actively. We're not picking and packing, which is not because we don't want to.
Yeah.
It's because it doesn't make sense at this level to do it. Because, you're always trying to do the best thing for the business. I think the director's role is to bring as much revenue possible, make sure everyone is getting paid well, and the company is growing.
Yeah.
You're orchestrating everything, but you're not manually doing everything. At the beginning, you should. Yeah. So you know every position. So when you hire someone, you understand the position. But at a certain level, you need to go forward.
So interesting, mate. There's one key point I want to touch on with that, but I also want to touch on on the innovating piece. When I first met you, you were implementing a stock tracker, something along those lines.
Yeah.
You said something along those lines, it's scan it, you have every single piece of stock will pop up, and you'll know exactly how much you've got. What was you said you'd been working on that for quite some time as well when I'd met you.
Well, yeah, to be honest, stock management in itself is a big thing. The more stock you have, let's say if you have 100,000 pounds of stock and it's in a lot of items, how do you track that? You need to know accounting wise, you need to know how much stock you have. But for you, operationally wise, you need to know, because if you have 100,000, you can turn it into 200,000. You know when to buy and when not to buy. And knowing you have 10 of these means you don't need to order for the next day or two. Yeah. And you understand the sales velocity per product. So we worked with a guy that created the software for us, and now he's probably going to put it to market. And it was difficult for me because most systems, a lot of these stock management softwares, they charge 900 to 1,000 pounds, thousands of pounds even. But they connect the API to, let's say, your website, which is a great way to do. The issue is, let's say I sell 2 and I only have 1. That's already a mistake. So after a week of thinking, I said, you know what? How should we do it? Scanning. Scan in, scan out. It doesn't matter how much you sell, how many are you taking out and in. That's what we really care about, physically how much stock we have. Not how much we sold, but how much physically we have. If we sell 10, but we only have 7, we need to know that so we can buy the other 3. So now we use that system, and so far it's going well. A lot of issues as always, but at the beginning it was a nightmare. Now it's much, much better, and it's getting better because this person is very switched on and he's improving.
How do you find people like that?
With him, to be honest, it was probably luck with him, to be honest. And I try to use other people to do this because we at the beginning wanted to do it Excel based. Yeah. And we did that, but the amount of scans we do, the system crashes. So you need an actual proper system and software. Yeah. So I was just asked him because I knew he was very good in Excel. He did it in a week, the actual system. So he was, as we say, ambition. He did it like this. Yeah. We didn't just talk. He did it. And that really, I tested them to see because many people I spoke with, they're going to do it. And then 2 weeks, we never talk. I chase, you chase. In business, it's all about chasing. You're chasing payments, you're chasing people, you're chasing. And most of them never reply. But the people you don't have to chase, those are the good guys.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of the software, how much did it cost? You know what I'm asking?
Right now?
Yeah.
You want £50 a week we pay.
£50 a week?
But because we kind of built it together.
Oh, okay.
So he said, because he never thought of building something like that. And he said, you gave me the idea, you gave me an actual thing to market and put on the market. We're going to always for you keep it 50 a week.
First.
The other ones were quoting 1.5 to 2,000 a month. And this one is better than them. So that should give you an indication.
That's something like when you build a good relationship, I think that's where people... I think good relationships built on fairness. That was the biggest thing I took from what you just said there. There is... even an example, I think I spoke about it in the podcast with Andy. Me and Andy were meant to be 75-25 when I made him an offer to come into the business and stuff like that over fucking a year and a half ago now. was meant to be 75-25. Andy wanted to do a 3-month trial, which was one of the best things we've ever done. And during that 3-month trial, I realised that it wasn't going to be 75-25. It was going to be like 50-50. And that wasn't based off, like any thought of 75-25 because I want to keep more than him. It was just, I work tremendously hard. I'm not going to expect him to come in and work the same as me.
Exactly.
But when they do come in and do that, that's where the resentment starts to build, is when you stick to the whole 75-25 thing, where it's like, I remember saying to Andy, I was like, mate, like, you're doing the same, if not more than me in different days. How the fuck could we stay at 75-25? So every time we pay dividends, for example, pay myself $3,000, you get $1,000. Like, that sucks, man. Like, that is good. That doesn't make me feel good. I just want to like give more. So it's,
partnership is very complicated. I mean, I was very lucky. I've had 2 partners.
Yeah,
Octavian and Luis, and luckily it's been great. I mean, Luis, I was the best man at his wedding. We're still very good friends. We meet every week, but it's difficult. Partnership is difficult. If you don't have a good relationship, resentment builds up quick, even if it's 50-50, because someone might be thinking, oh, but I'm working more, I'm doing more, why are you getting paid the same? You don't do anything. So it's an ongoing relationship. And I think if you have good communication and speak all the time, that's very important. To not 1 month without speaking, speak all the time, because you might be saying, you know what, I want to go this direction. Is he agreeing? Is he thinking? The best idea should always win. But it's important what you guys want as well.
What would be your advice to an individual wanting to like find a partner for whatever reason within business? Maybe they just want to do something with someone else, or like, they just, maybe it's just that. Like, what would be your advice to?
I mean, for me, partnership was more of an organic. I didn't look for them. They just kind of came. I think if you're forcing it, why are you getting a partner for? You need to think, what can that person do? If you're doing the same thing, is not necessarily the best thing, because doing the same thing might as well be one person. You need to think, why do you want a partner? Are you not confident enough you can do it yourself? Or you just want someone to share the journey with? Because business is lonely. At the end of the day, it's all on you. If you fail, you go bankrupt. So why you're doing it is the first thing. And if it's a good reason, go with a partner. And if you have already someone in mind, talk with him. But looking actively for it doesn't really work, I think.
I agree, bro. I've had a good amount of, it's a regular conversation I get asked, because I like there's no facade when it comes to me and Andy. Like, I truly believe like I've hit the jackpot. He's like amazingly, like everything from start to finish when it comes to Andy. Like I've hit the jackpot with it, and it's like people recognize it, especially clients, like the relationship we have, and how we manage clients and how we work together, and when we go out for dinner and like all these other different things. And I get asked like the same question of like, how do I find an Andy, or Andy will get asked, how do I find a John? And it's like, I don't really know if like I have like a proper answer to that.
Because if you engineer, it doesn't work the same way, because it's natural. I think it works. And the fact that he proposed the 3-month trial period, right? That's very smart of him. Already that's a person you want to work with, because he's not like, I'm demanding this. Because when you demand, you lose. As soon as you ask, you're losing already, because you have nothing, you don't have the leverage. But the fact he did that and you saw he was a killer, you're like, shit, I'll give you 50.
Yeah, I agree.
But if he said no 3-month period, I'm happy with 25, probably it would be different.
It could have been different for sure, bro. I think, it's an interesting one, man. In terms of, there's 2 things, just because one hot topic just now, when it comes to Black Friday. We spoke about it outside in regards to the impact that Black Friday can have to skew numbers, skew like realistically, okay, Q4 is fucking unreal, but Q1 isn't going to be the same. How do you manage it, that sort of stuff?
It's depends on what you're selling. If you're selling toys, Q4 is going to be, for us, for example, Q4 is not that crazy. If you look at our sales and our numbers, it goes like this. I mean, it's steady. It doesn't go super like this. But January is strong and August is strong, because it's home products, it's essential products, and it's consumables that you're going to, replenishable stuff you're going to always order. So it doesn't really have seasonality. There's good and bad things about it, obviously. Things like clothes, things like toys. Clothes, not depending on the clothes. Again, it depends on the category. Some of them can be very seasonal. T-shirts will probably sell more in the summer. So it's understanding that part. There are people who sell only Christmas stuff and they kill it, but they start buying in the summer. And all of their business, it's towards that. So it's understanding that many new sellers starting Q4, like, oh wow, we went to 1,000, now we're doing 20,000. Wow, let's do it. And then they come to January, February, and March, and they're even lower than before because now they were coasting on the success of every time it's too easy, it's not going to last too long.
Yeah.
Everything's coming like this, it's probably not going to last too long. And every time our numbers spiked heavily, I almost got scared because I was like, is this us doing the right thing? Or is this the market being too good?
Yeah. I love that, bro, because it's something that it's like when you've like truly earned something, there's like a level of confidence that's built up on that. Exactly. Like if I'm reflecting on like gaming days, it's like someone challenges me to COD, it's like I know I've spent over a decade every single day obsessing over it in a competitive environment, being challenged every single time I die, like all these repeatable things that it feels like it's truly earned. And I see often it's like Jack, who's came into our business, one of my closest friends since we were 14, like him coming in sales, like we had multiple different programs we'd been through for sales training, for example. I'd obviously accumulated all of it and then took him through sales training over like a 3 to 5 month window. And then he also went through the programs that I'd went through as well, just because naturally I'm going to pick up different things that are going to suit me and so on and so forth. He's also massively extroverted. I'm more introverted, so there's things I would have picked up that would be different to what he'd pick up. I remember him coming to me and I was like, I could already start to recognise that he was already becoming better than me in sales, but he didn't feel any way remotely that way. And it was because he'd been fast tracked. Or at least in his eyes, he felt like he'd been fast tracked, but I don't think he'd even realised that he'd actually been fast tracked further than me. And then when he actually starts to earn that, he's already started further than me with all the knowledge, but when he starts to earn it, that's just going to propel him fucking 100% tremendously.
Usually, it's not always, but when things are going too fast, they kind of collapse too fast. So super fast growth, when there's no skills behind it, it's very dangerous. Again, if you've made a big business already and now you're doing it again, that's already done. You've done it. You know the game. But if you're just going from 0 to 1 million, from 10, I mean, if it's going so fast and there's no skills behind it, it's dangerous.
I can't remember who it was that said it, but it was something along the lines of like, how fast you build a business is how fast you could lose it. Which is always like stuck with me, man, because it's like we've grown like really steady in like the last 2 years. It's not been a huge jump. We've seen jumps in terms of going from signing 3 clients a month on average to now 6. Pausing client acquisition to focus on current client management to ensure that we're over delivering. These sort of little things where we do see a steady return, but there's never really been a huge jump. And at times you could look at that and think, the fuck, man, like how come I've never had that big jump that guy's had, and how come he's like already driving a fucking McLaren and I'm not, but I've been in the game same time. Like these sort of things.
Comparison kills you.
And
it's crazy, especially now with Instagram, everyone is balling. Everyone is rich, everyone's making money, everyone is doing well. You go behind the curtains, it's not the reality. A lot of them are about to lose everything and they don't even know it. Some of them are actual players, but not many of them.
100%, bro. In terms of, got two more kind of areas I want to cover, mate. One of which is, we spoke out briefly when we met about your mentor or the person that you were learning from at the time. I think you said he was doing something like 60 mil or something.
Well, I wouldn't say maybe mentor. I got a call with one of the guys who was doing 60 million. I've seen him on Instagram, but we don't have a close relationship really. I just wanted to speak with him to see what they're thinking and how they're doing. In reality, when I went and saw behind the scenes, it was a bit disappointing because it wasn't the person you were thinking they were. But still, they gave you a lot of knowledge. Mentorship is a tough thing. I think finding the right person, and when it's forced, it doesn't work. Again, I think it needs to be natural, and it needs to be natural. If it's everything that's forced, doesn't really work.
I think like when like whatever mentor you end up working with, like you said, you end up learning something. You either learn about the fact that that's not who you want to become more like, or you learn knowledge and things that you actually do want to be more like. And it seems like in this scenario, for example, like you probably gained certainty from what he wasn't doing.
Yeah, I mean, right now, because increasing, I mean, today we had full day of meeting with my partner, see where we want to go. And it's thinking about, okay, at 5 million, how are we going to look? At 10 million, how are we going to look? Do we want to get in 10 million in this type of business with these type of products? You need to ask yourself these questions, because you don't need to be afraid, I think, to change, because every time we changed, we grew massively.
Yeah.
But it's staying the same thing that's the issue. Because as you know, the only constant in business is change.
Yeah.
You have to change. Meta now works, we use Meta. TikTok now works, use TikTok. Don't get so in love with the platforms because they might be gone or switching. So that's what we spent all day. It was a tough day, really, because we're thinking where we want to go, how excited we are right now for the business, what are the plans, can we get to 10 million, how does 10 million look, how does 100 million look. These are big numbers, but if you break them down mathematically, you can see exactly what you need to do, really.
And I think like when you think about, because when you spoke about Flipville at the start, I thought about Gary Vee. And Gary Vee is a good example of just like constantly evolving with the times, which I found very interesting. Have you did you consume a lot of Gary Vee's content when you were kind of coming up and stuff?
I would say, when I was younger, for sure. I like him because he pretty much changed the game in that aspect with the daily vlogs and and the fact that he had a personal brand, but he had an actual business. I think now he's doing like 400 million a year. He's actually a big player. Similar with Hormozy. What Hormozy is doing now, Gary Vee pretty much paved the way for him, as he says as well. I think all of these personalities, most of them don't have businesses, and their business is personality. Nothing wrong with that. But the few ones that have big businesses and they're documenting alongside, for me, those are the guys I really like. Because they're speaking from experience.
I think that's the biggest. I think that's the most exciting, especially like when we're doing these sort of podcast episodes and stuff. Is like if we can get really like under the roots of like proper experience, then there's nothing more valuable in that because it's like real time
experience, brother, and the pain. Like understanding, I fucked up here. Try not to fuck up. You probably will, but at least you know. Like the amount of mistakes we're doing, and we keep on doing, and I'm sure we'll keep on doing. And it's just you get hungrier and hungrier for at least the more you grow, you want more. And how you get there, sometimes you want to be too fast. I want to get it now. And you see these numbers, we're doing 150. How do we get to 200? How does that look? Does it make sense to do it next month, 2 months, 5 months? And as you said, if we do this, we might go like this. So sometimes you might have to check your ego and go slower. Especially with bigger numbers, your ego starts getting involved. Oh, wow, I did this. But you need to look behind those numbers. What do they mean? Are you profitable? Are you doing the right thing? Are you just doing more work just for the sake of it? It's all of these things.
I agree, bro. I agree. In terms of, I mean, I've got a good couple of individuals that keep me over, probably over the last year, probably more and more wanting to get into the ecom space. Whether it's like friends that are not in business, or maybe they're in sports, and they're wanting to do something in the ecom space. What would be your advice to them?
Why they want to get in the e-commerce space? Number one. Have they ever sold anything when they were kids? Because if you never sold and you're going to buying and selling, you're in for a treat. It's a different business because it has many complications in it. I would recommend them start with no money. Everyone that starts a business, I always recommend start with no money, because starting with money, if you have 100,000 to spend, it's very rare, but let's say you have that, you're probably going to lose it. And you're not going to learn that much. You're going to get burnt and you're not going to try anything. But to go from 0 to even 100 pounds, you're actually proving something. And I think don't invest money unless you know what you're doing. Start with 0. Start with as little as possible. Just so you can understand how the game works. And e-commerce, when they say e-commerce is so wild. Are you doing your own brand? Are you reselling products? Are you getting products from China? It's understanding what type of e-commerce they want to do. There's no wrong answers. The biggest sellers are resellers. They don't even have their own products. It doesn't mean you want to be that. There's pros and cons. Making your own product sounds easy. It's very difficult. Good luck competing with a product that spends $1 billion in marketing. It's not easy. And if you have no brand recognition and nobody knows you, it's difficult to push that product, especially if you don't understand the platforms, the ads, and everything else. How in the lifetime value of a customer in your type of product is very important. If it's an iPhone, how many can you sell? How often do you sell them? If it's a home product, how often do you sell them? So it's understanding all of that, but it's difficult to do at the beginning. I would say if they want to do it, just to start and try it, if they like it. Just to get a taste. Start, see how it goes. If you're liking it and you think there's a future for you, try it. You can always pivot. That's what I think.
In terms of like any any books, specific like YouTube channels, anything you'd recommend?
I would stay away from the Facebook groups. to be honest, because I mean, a lot of people are helping, but a lot of people are very negative. So you're gonna go there and you want to kill yourself. It's a lot of negativity. Book-wise, I would say Sam Walton, Made in America. Okay. Sam Walton is the guy who built Walmart, and that's the biggest company, if not the biggest in the world, one of the biggest. They do almost $1 trillion a year.
Wow.
And he did it just buying and selling. Yeah. Read that book and see the difference of person he is. I think everyone starting a business is not a great idea necessarily. Most people are not made for business. Yeah. As harsh as it sounds, it's a lot of responsibility. Yeah. Having a job and having a paycheck every month, it's guaranteed. And most jobs you don't even need to work that hard. Yeah. And most people, I don't think they're number ones. When I say number one, the founder and the CEO. Doesn't mean you're smarter, but there's number ones and number twos in business. There's someone who is better if you give him a path. Yeah. And there's someone who creates his own path. Many times if you're number two, you make way more money. If you're in the right position. If you're in the wrong position, it's an issue.
Yeah, I completely understand, brother. You said Sam Walton.
Sam Walton, Made in America.
Made in America. Yeah.
Great book.
Pick up the book if you want to get into Ecom. Yeah, this has been incredible, brother. I can't believe how quick it's flew in, man.
How long is it?
An hour and 25 minutes, bro.
Fuck me, brother. I was like, we're cutting short. He didn't like it.
Literally, bro. I checked my phone. I was like, okay, we've got 5 minutes left. No. But you know, honestly, brother, this has been amazing, mate. I feel like so much of what we cover. I mean, even just looking at my notes, man, like it's very perfect example of an organic conversation, mate. We took it in a really good direction, man. Fun. So thank you so much for coming on, brother. You, is there anything else that you'd want to touch on before we sign off?
Not really. I think we touched on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Anything in terms of where people can find you if they want to?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
I'll find if you want to. Instagram is Iani. Yeah. So if you want to find me, and plus I'm friends with you on Instagram, so I'm not a big content guy yet.
I was waiting on that, you know.
But you don't know if the only reason I'm not doing content yet, because if I do it, I want to do it proper. That's the thing. I don't want to do 5 posts in a week and then you never hear of me. Yeah. Like all your attention in it.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you want to see more of Iani's content, you're not going to be able to find it anywhere else. So you want me to bring him back in, we'll get another couple of episodes going. Yeah, no, this has been incredible, Iani. Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, mate. If you're on YouTube, guys, be sure to subscribe for more content we're going to be rolling out. Like Iani said, 6 podcasts between now and Christmas in terms of recorded. We'll be scheduling them every couple of weeks beyond January. We've got like over 20 guests lined up that we could be some absolute like outstanding episodes. So yeah, be sure to subscribe for some more content, guys. Going to be hitting it home for young entrepreneurs out there. And if you're on Spotify, be sure to follow. I believe it is on Spotify. So yeah, thank you so much, Paul, as always, brother. And yeah, thank you for listening.